The kind of conversations we have on this show. They're so much fun. It is the Morning Roast. Sam Lubman in for Joe Spadoni. Got Joe Shasky here. And we also have Bonta Hill, who's in studio every Tuesday, presented by Ceremony Ford, your Bay Area Ford dealer. 888-957-9570 is the number to call. Are you trusting the 49ers draft consensus right now? Why or why not?
Yeah, I brought this up earlier today, Bonta, and I think you keep asking the question, like, why is everyone losing their minds over the draft? And I think it's a couple of things, all right? Forget consensus and board and the actual players that they picked. Just for a second. No, I mean that. Like, just take a... Why are Niner fans losing their minds? As I think the bigger question. And I went crazy on it this morning because I think, to me, we've been in this vortex, right? And what I call it is like the loser vortex, where you've won so much, but yet you haven't won the ultimate prize, that it's a mind blank. And I don't want to swear. I don't want to swear on radio, but like, it's been messing with us. We've been the bridesmaid over and over and over. I can't think of any team in any sport that's been this successful over 15 or so years and not win a title. Meaning 7 NFC Championship games, 3 Super Bowls, without winning it once. And I feel like it's a more difficult, mess up in the mind than just being awful. When you're awful, when your team's awful, there's like, yeah, I'm a Warrior fan. You guys suck. Yeah, I know we suck. You kind of accept it.
No, that's not true. Yeah. That's not true.
No, not right now. I'm talking about back when.
No, because when Chip Kelly was coaching his team and they stunk, the takes were wild. Yeah, Jed York sell the team. Mm-hmm. This team can't make a pick. They're nothing without Eddie D. They miss Harbaugh. I mean, it was relentless.
They also moved the team at that time, too, though. So there was a lot
but there's a lot.
The owner anger was a variety of things.
Because the Warriors won 37 games this year, and think about that dialogue.
But they've won championships.
Which even makes it worse.
No, I just think people are caught in the moment. And I just look at the Niners situation. I think had they won one title over these last couple years, I just think people would be a little more relaxed.
When Chip Kelly was coaching that team and I started covering the Niners, there was nobody going to those games. There's $20 tickets.
Yeah,
and I remember the radio was just like, Jed York was getting crushed. Parag Varate was getting crushed. The Niners were getting crushed. People were losing their freaking minds. And then Shanahan gets a job. And this is the litmus test. They hadn't been to the playoffs in a long time. Second year, Jimmy gets hurt. They freaking lose all these games and don't make the playoffs. And going into 2019, the rhetoric around the 49ers was, we better win. We better win and go to the playoffs and this and that. So I don't agree with that. When they sucked, people stopped going to the games. They started crushing everybody. But now when they're good, that's just the society we're in now. It's just where we're at right now because fans now have a louder voice. They have a louder voice. And you don't think these players and these coaches are reading what is being said about them or listening to what there's being said about them? It's never been like this before. So I'm okay with fans having a loud voice. There's some fans who don't know what the hell they're talking about and think they know everything. That's where we draw the line. It's like, wait a minute. You can't have it both ways. You can't be mad. Like, for example, I'm in the chat right now. People will say, Bonta, would you trade Ricky Pearsall for a third-round pick? Well, my rhetoric is, my reply is this. If you don't believe they can draft, why would you try to trade a player who's healthy when he's healthy and productive and go get a draft pick for a team that can't draft? Make it make sense. Make it make sense.
Well, I guess you're hoping at some point they're going to be actually like hit on some of these draft picks, and you got to figure them out.
But I think you also hit on something there. Like, trade the guy you took 28th overall just a couple years ago, a couple years later, because he hasn't been as good as you hoped, for less value. Like, I think that is in part why people are, going nuts on the draft.
Well, you say that they haven't hit on anything. All right, so
I didn't say that.
No, not you. Not you. You keep saying that, Lubman, that they haven't hit on anything in the last 3 years. Dominic Pooney's a starting right guard, right?
Well,
it's a good pick.
Acknowledge that Pooney is part of the good ones that they have hit on.
I hope one day that he can be a Pro Bowl level player.
In the last 3 years, though, I mean, your best draft pick has been a right guard. I don't believe that your best pick over a 3-year stretch can be a right guard.
We talk about offensive line all the time. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you could take a right guard and be good.
Well, yeah, I know, but like that can't be your only great pick, though.
Well, it's not your only good pick. Renardo Green took a step back. But he's the starting corner in this league. He took a step back. That's a question mark.
Yeah, I think he's going to make a break situation.
I'm talking about like actual impact players. So like Dominic Pooney's the only unquestioned impact player getting out of the last 3 years of the draft.
He's a solid piece.
Renardo Green, I'm not ready to close the door on him, but I'm also, I'm with you. I think it's a big year for him.
Right, Malik Mustafa. Huge
question
year.
mark.
Huge year for him. But he's Tatum Bethune helped you win some football games last year as
I
a
like
seventh
Bethune
round
better than D. Winters.
as a seventh round pick.
Yeah.
So moving off of D. Winters, who I thought played well, but Tatum Bethune is a seventh round pick who wore the green dot helmet last year. All right, now you move to 2025.
Well, hold on. Stop on Tatum Bethune really quick. Is he a guy that if everybody's healthy, is he on the field every play?
Probably not.
No,
but
so
that's okay. But he's a depth piece.
But
As a seventh round pick, it's a pretty good pick.
Fair enough. Okay, yeah, you want to get a
pretty
depth
good
piece
pick.
there, but like again, I'm looking for impact players who you can get out on the field for every single snap.
He's shown more now than what Jennings did his first year or second year.
You're not
like
gonna-
Jennings took some time, and then Jennings was a very important 49er.
If you get impact players in the second, third, fourth, fifth round, those are home run picks. That doesn't happen.
Well,
The
I
hit rate in the
expect
NFL
first,
draft
second,
is-
third. I expect
right,
plug and play.
Plug and play, and that's what you got here. All right, last year, Michael Williams, the verdict's out on him.
Yes.
Against the run, the dude was nails. The dude was stonewalling
But I
dudes.
don't draft a guy
I hear
11th
you.
overall
But-
for that. But I hear what you're saying.
That's their philosophy, right?
I know,
That's what- that's what they're-
and
you
this
know?
is where I disagree with that philosophy.
Alfred Collins, it's worked for them, though. They've won a lot of football games. Alfred Collins, we can disagree on him, but he's a rotational player. Plays at the goal line, stuff in the run, had one of the biggest plays of the year for this team. Nick Martin, a lot of people were high on Nick Martin. We never seen him play. A lot of people want to see him play.
Hopefully he'll get on the field this year.
I don't
Upton
know.
Stout, third round pick. We just keep going down the list. Upton Stout. And now you got Hobbs. Now you got competition at the nickel, right? And Hobbs may be sliding to safety. Who the hell knows what they do with Hobbs? Watkins, question mark. Jordan James, question mark. Marquise Siegel. I like Siegel early on.
Of all the three safeties, I like him better than Jair Brown and Malik Mustafa. If you're asking me.
Fifth round pick. Connor Colby, battling for left guard.
We'll see with Connor Colby. I was high on him last year, but he looked a little overwhelmed at times last year.
At times.
He looks small.
There's time for these drafts to grow and get better. But I'm saying, like right now, when I look at again compared to your competition, the NFC West, when I see the Seahawks hitting Kobe Bryant in the fourth round, when they're finding Zach Charbonnet in the second round, like they get Nick Eamon-Worry in the second round. You got Kyron Williams coming out of the
But
fifth
they had a
round.
great draft. They had a great
But
how many times? Go look at the Arizona Cardinals drafts now.
Well, but that's not the litmus test.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that teams have that. Atlanta Falcons, I was looking at this yesterday, like who's on the roster now and who have they drafted over the last 4 years? You guys will be shocked at the turnover in today's NFL. With the salary cap, with guys on 4-year contracts, guys getting cut off the 53-man, injuries, there's a lot of roster turnover. It flips left and right. Now you got coaching changes, you got GM changes, you got guys who want their guys in their system, guys may not fit their system. The 49ers, we could disagree with their draft formula. It has been underwhelming. I'm not saying that it's been a home run. Like, I still don't know about this draft. I have no idea.
But I think over the last 2 days on this show, and whether I was doing with Grandy or with Loveman, my personal stance has been they've won a lot of games. No one's running them out of time. We're saying we just need you to draft a little better. Maybe we do get over the hump.
And I'll say that I'll add on
I
to
think
this.
that's fair.
But I don't look at the draft as saying in these NFC Championship games. I look at, damn, Jaquaski Tart dropped the pick. Jimmy Ward gets called for unsportsmanlike. Jimmy Garoppolo can't bring it home in the biggest moments in that NFC Championship game. He can't make a throw to George Kittle in the third play of the offensive game. That's Jimmy Garoppolo. We did a lot of shows after that game. Not once have we brought up, oh man, the draft really cost us that game.
Also,
No,
the
we were
difference
thinking quarterback did.
Well, no, I also think during that
Quarterback
time
did.
from 2017 to 2021, the Niners were absolutely killing it in the draft. They were finding all sorts of impact
22,
players.
23, 24.
It's just,
The Trey
amount
Lance
of
trade.
Yeah,
you lost a lot of picks. You didn't have it. It was a bad trade.
horrible
That
trade.
set them back in the
I
draft a
agree.
little bit.
And those drafts, here's the other part. Those drafts look worse because you traded for McCaffrey and you gave up a bunch of middle round ammunition that you could have used.
How about
but
this, though?
I'm doing that deal all day, every day for
we
McCaffrey.
keep talking about reaches. I remember in real time with Brandon Ayuk. And that was a draft with CeeDee Lamb, who I love CeeDee Lamb. We argued about whether or not he was a number one receiver. I think we know where we stand on that one now. Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy. Who else was
I
it?
got the
Justin
whole
Jefferson.
class. So the class is here.
Brandon Ayuk was like, really? Out of all the receivers, we took Brandon Ayuk? And I know what's happening with Brandon Ayuk now. It's a disaster. But damn, Brandon Ayuk was a damn good player.
He was.
Turned out to be a really good player.
But how do you? I mean, like Jalen Reagor's the only guy in this list who has less yards than Brandon Ayuk as a career right now. Because I'm looking at it. Pittman Jr. more yards, Higgins more yards.
Well, that's because Ayuk hasn't
Jefferson's
played.
Unreal. CD, Judy. I mean,
that's now because he hasn't played the last 2 years, basically. At one point, remember I was doing this.
At one point he was doing well.
He was putting up bigger numbers than CeeDee Lamb in a run-first
Yeah, but
offense.
I never thought he was better than CD.
Yeah, no doubt. but he was putting up numbers on par with CD Lamb.
I thought he was
now he's been hurt, so now it's easy to see. Okay, yeah, these players are being more productive. This guy hasn't played in a year and a half.
No, and
he may never play again.
No, and we don't know. And I think I consider Ayuk, that was a good pick, all things considered. I know it's not good right now, but he had some great moments with this team. He helped this team get to a Super Bowl. But Bonta, like, I hear your point, but at the same time, it's like these drafts, they're not producing, I think, the kind of results I think you're expecting these drafts produce. And by that, I mean, like, here's an example. We know they have a need at edge rusher. We know that they're struggling to get sacks right now. In the last 4 drafts, the Rams picks have netted them 90 sacks in the last 4 drafts. The Seahawks have netted 50 sacks in the last 4 drafts. They also, you know how many sacks the Niners drafts have netted in the last 4 years?
It hasn't been good.
13 and a half.
Yeah, they missed on Drake Jackson. Knee went out.
He has 6 sacks, 3 of them in one game.
But Nick Bosa hasn't been healthy. They also made a lot of trades for Chase Young and Randy Gregory. They've tried to go to free agency /trade route with that other Leonard Floyd, exactly. They tried to go that route with their edge picks. They haven't really gone in depth with the draft here with the edge until last year with Mykel Williams, when they were like, look, we got to stop the run. We have to stop the run with Mykel Williams. He gets hurt. So now you get Romello Height, who's supposed to be this edge, coming off the edge, who's 25 years old, who's got speed. We shall see about that. But a lot of DeMarcus Lawrence is huge for Seattle, who is a free agent pickup. So, look, they have not drafted well. They've still been on par with those teams. The only thing the Niners haven't done is won that damn Super Bowl. That's the only thing they've done. And when you look at those Super Bowls, your premium players didn't play well. Right?
They still got you there, though.
Players did not play you. They didn't play well.
Yeah, and I think, again, they did draft very well at the start, and that is why they got to 2 Super Bowls. And I asked Joe this question earlier in the show, like, what do you think is going to be better, the next 4 years of Niners football or the prior 4 years of Niners football?
When did the draft become everything for team building?
I'm not saying it's everything, but it's a big part of it.
It seems like it.
If we were to break down for the Niners, right, just the Niners, if you were ranking free agency, trades, and existing roster, right now, the last couple of years, it might be one of their weaknesses.
Drafts?
Yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah.
There's been no doubt about that.
Yeah. So that's why it's such a big deal, I think, in Niners. Because they want it to be improved.
But they're also leaning on guys they did draft.
But they've been leaning on for a very long time, though.
They're still highly productive. Is Fred Warner not an all-pro linebacker?
No, they're absolutely.
Is George Kittle not one of the best tight ends when healthy?
Is that going to last forever?
Brock Purdy's your quarterback, right? That was a draft pick.
Amazing.
That's been your draft pick.
We had said today. No, we had said today that, like, as long as Brock Purdy's upright, they're probably going to get great production from whoever's wide receiver and whoever's out there, because when he plays, they're good. It's that simple.
They've held on to guys they've picked, and they've made shrewd moves to shore up some of the holes. For every draft pick they missed on, they tried to cover it up, whether it's a trade for Christian McCaffrey, right? They can't hit on a running back to save their life. I get it. Elijah Mitchell was productive for a season. They've actually had more success with the undrafted guy when it comes to running back.
Jeff Wilson Jr.,
Matt Breida,
Jeff
Wilson Jr., exactly. So I do like this guy, Kalon Black. I don't, people saying they reach for him.
He was good in
but damn,
college.
he runs hard.
But the problem I have with Kalon Black is he doesn't do what a lot of Shanahan running backs need to do to be successful. He doesn't catch passes. Like,
you got Christian McCaffrey for that.
I mean,
you got McCaffrey for that.
So what?
That's why he's there.
But no
running back was catching passes before McCaffrey, right? Elijah Mitchell was on the team. Jeff Wilson Jr. here and there.
McKinnon to do it, but he never
and McKinnon never stayed healthy.
Yeah. Well, I think that was a big gap in Jordan Mason's game. It's why I think the Niners struggled in the red zone a couple years ago when Mason was the primary running back, because they didn't have that guy who they could dump it down to in the red zone that McCaffrey's been so effective at. I'm not saying that these guys have to be McCaffrey, but I do think a successful running back in the Kyle Shanahan offense has to be able to get his hands on the ball, catching it every now and then.
You got to be able to run the ball between the tackles, and you got to run tough. That's what you got to do in Shanahan's offense. You got to be able to run the ball between the tackles and take care of the football. The passing game aspect is an added bonus to this offense when it comes to Shanahan. That's just my opinion.
Okay, that's fair again when you are a run-first team. But again, if you're a run-first team...
Why are you looking at me like that?
No, it's just if you're going to be a run-first team, right, you need to invest in your offensive line, whether they've had solid production or not. Like, the last 2 years have told you just haven't run the ball as well as you've done in years prior. And so when I look at the last 3 games of the year, and I was going through this with Loveman earlier... 8 for 23. That was the closeout game, week 18 against Seattle. The win in Philly, 15 for 48. These are McCaffrey's numbers. And then 11 for 35 in the playoff game. I don't know. Is Christian a part of this? Yeah. Like, I don't know how much juice is he seeing the field. I didn't think they had a lot of room to run. And so to me, upgrading the offensive line and beefing it up was a huge priority.
I agree.
Well, when you didn't do it during free agency, I wanted to see them prioritize it in the draft. That's why when they waited till the 4th or 5th pick to make that offensive line selection, it's like I wanted it to be a higher selection. Now, that being said, if this guy gives you Dominic Pooney productivity, I'll walk it all back.
There you go.
Yeah, no, well, you know what? Janice Ducker was on the board in Iowa. I wanted him really, really bad. They didn't get him. They believe in Colton McKivitz a lot more than I believe in Colton McKivitz.
I thought McKivitz played well last year, though. So.
McKivitz did have a good year.
He was solid.
And look,
solid.
he's one of the few draft picks from a couple years back that has signed a second contract.
They love Brendel. And look, they're just not big. Their philosophy is they're not big on guards. They've let guards walk out the door.
Every year.
Banks. Spencer
Lincoln
Burford.
Tomlinson.
Jaylon Moore, who's a swing guard, swing tackle. They let him walk out the door. He didn't even start in Kansas City, for crying out loud. So they just have a different philosophy than us. And they believe that Chris Forster, their offensive line coach, can coach guys up who are drafted in the fourth round, 5th round. For their system,
because it is productive, but the last 2 years, it hasn't been as productive.
And part of that is Kittle's been hurt.
Yes, yes.
Part of that is McCaffrey's been hurt.
And he doesn't have the same speed. He's still a good player. He doesn't have the same speed. I agree.
Brock Purdy has a play quarterback, so you're going to defend the 49ers a lot differently.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, you didn't have Debo's in and out of the lineup. Brandon Ayuk got hurt. So 2 years ago, it's just a wash. Nothing was going right for them.
Well, it was, Super Bowl hangover season.
Last year, up until Kittle got healthy, you saw them against Atlanta. It was like, wow, they can run the football. And they got better. And then Trent got hurt. And then,
Kittle came back. That was a big deal.
But obviously, you play Seattle twice and you play Philadelphia.
They're going to stuff the run.
Those are 3 of the better run defenses. Yeah. So, you got to run the ball better against those teams. But I think overall, they did a nice job on the ground.
No, I agree with it. But at the same time, and again, you point out, a lot of the playmakers they've drafted early on who have kind of gotten them to this point. Like, Fred Warner is still playing at an all-pro level. George Kittle's still playing at an all-pro level. Yeah. Christian McCaffrey still playing at an all-pro level. But, that time is running out. The clock is ticking on that. Again, Warner's probably got a few years left. I don't know what Kittle's future looks like. I don't know what McCaffrey's future looks like. But, Shasky, you bring up what McCaffrey did in those last 3 games, and I saw a running back that just looked like he had 400 carries during the year that was starting to wear him down. You need to start getting some help in behind these guys and keep this gravy train running. That's how good teams stay good.
I also saw an offensive line that couldn't open up holes against Seattle and Philadelphia. Also saw that Christian McCaffrey had no room to run. So did he lack juice, or just did he have room to operate?
I thought Purdy was running for his life.
Yeah, they got snuffed out.
I think at some point it's going to be a little bit of both. Is he losing juice, or is he just kind of running for his life because he has no production? That's where I think when you see all these misses at running back here in the draft, because, again, McCaffrey's covered up a lot of deficiencies in the running back drafting over the last couple of years. Again, over the last 4 drafts, the guys that they've drafted have netted them 15 rushing touchdowns. 11 of those have been from Brock Purdy. They're not finding help behind Christian McCaffrey. What we've been saying for the last 2 years.
Well, when you have Christian McCaffrey, you don't need those other guys. And that's been hold on, because I remember that Chicago game when they had Trey Lance starting. And what did I do when I came in here? I said, they need a running back bad. They cannot draft running backs. Jordan James could not get on the field last year. I keep hearing about Niner Nick keeps talking about Isaac Renardo. I'm like, dude, get over Isaac Renardo.
He has the 4 touchdowns that he's talking about.
Yeah, I know. He had the big run against Seattle. But you have Christian McCaffrey. When Christian McCaffrey's right, we want him on the football field.
Yeah, but is there coming a time where they do need to work in other guys?
There is a time now. And they admit that's why Kalon Black could be that guy. And I kind of like Kalon Black. I know when
he was productive at Indiana. But he was also in a tandem.
He was in a tandem, but he could be in a tandem here.
Sure.
And that's fine. If you lessen Christian McCaffrey's load, that's great. Rushing load, that is. Hashtag pause. Hashtag pause. You look at me crazy here.
I would have liked that a couple years ago is what I'm saying.
Let me ask you this. Can you name Saquon Barkley's backup? Can you name... I know deep down, you know what I'm saying? You get where I'm going?
I do. Yeah.
Nobody cares about Saquon Barkley's backup because Saquon Barkley's on the football field. What other top running back out there?
Saquon's a lot younger than CMC.
He's a lot younger. Like a Jahmyr Gibbs and who's number 2?
David Montgomery. They moved off of him.
Moved off Montgomery.
And look, when David Montgomery's on the field, everybody's thinking, boy, you kind of need Gibbs on the football field. He's
every
a lot
carry
more explosive.
Montgomery takes, I'm like, it's a win for the defense.
Exactly. You don't think other teams are thinking about that with McCaffrey in the past? So that's why I don't get bogged down into who was backing up McCaffrey, because McCaffrey was doing everything for you in the pass game and in the running game. Now, obviously, he's a lot older. You don't want them carrying the ball 400 times this year. That's obvious. And I think they tried to address that with Jalen Black. And it also tells you that, hey, Jordan James and Isaac Renardo, you're on the clock. And that's the one thing. This regime, I don't think they get enough credit for it. Because, again, I'm with you guys on the draft. The overall drafting process, I want to make myself clear. It has not been pretty. But, boy, do they cover up those holes right away. Do they not try to atone for those mistakes? Damn, we don't know about Jordan James and Isaac Renardo. Bring in Kalon Black. We don't know about Ricky Pearsall. Let's go get Deshaun Stribling and see if he can learn under Mike Evans or Christian Kirk. I think they deserve a little credit for that, for trying to patch up those mistakes.
Well, if you really want to be, I'll be that guy on that one for this one. You could make the argument that if they just got those picks right the first time, they wouldn't need to go back and waste picks to try and fix those earlier picks early on. And instead of drafting a receiver to replace your last receiver, you can get offensive line help.
So
you're not going to bat 1,000. That I acknowledge.
I agree.
So you want them to hit on every single pick?
Look,
I want them to hit more than they have.
35% of your picks, you're doing really well.
Again, I
don't even have an advanced number. That's just my guess.
I mean, they say 40%.
See,
if you're 40%, it's lucky. If you hit on 40%, it's lucky that you do it and move forward. Like, when I'm thinking about last year's loss to Seattle in the playoffs, six days later after beating Philadelphia, they had a mass unit out there. It wasn't because of the draft. It's because those dudes can't stay healthy. You can't say, you got a 53-man roster. How many teams do you think are 3 deep at each position? You're not going to have a ton of depth when you have a salary cap league.
Garrett Wallow was the hero in the Philly game.
That's what I'm talking about.
Crazy.
You're hurt.
Crazy.
You got banged up. What killed the year before? It wasn't draft picks. You got hurt. McCaffrey got hurt. Purdy got hurt. Kittle got hurt. Brandon Ayuk got hurt. The list goes on and on and on.
When you saw the Rams take the quarterback, what was your immediate thought?
Shocker.
Right?
Shocker.
But what did you think as an opponent of the NFC West?
I was happy.
Right?
I was happy.
So, like,
I was happy.
Wasted a pick.
I see exactly. Right? And
you think teams are thinking about that with Stribling?
No. That's not what they're saying with Stribling. I just think the way that sometimes the Niners operate is they prioritize certain positions to the point where they're stockpiling it, and other teams are like, good, we like that you don't stockpile your left guard, for example.
How about this, though? So we all came out of the Seattle game. Not only were they banked up, but we said, damn, they need more speed.
Well, they did need more playmakers.
They need more playmakers.
Yeah, they need to get younger.
They need explosion.
Yeah.
They need to get younger.
Yeah.
What is Stribling? From what we know.
Well, no.
So
I think you're on the Stribling pick. I'm over on
No. Let me
I'm
make myself
open-minded
clear.
to him.
Yeah, I'm this whole draft, I don't know who's what.
Yeah,
I like Kalon Black. I don't know about Stribling.
Malachi Lemon could easily bust.
Dude,
who knows?
Stribling, I was like, what? I didn't see him on none of these mocks. But then you start to gather information. You start to hear from the experts who do this for a living and break down the film 24/7. It's like, oh, we love Stribling. Like when Cosell says, I like Stribling more than Mekhi Lemon, I sit back and say, whoa, wait a minute. Huh? What am I missing on this? But Seattle, they needed more explosion.
Yes.
They need more speed. And what does Stribling bring
Both.
you? And, he's a great, now, I don't like the fact that you take a receiver and the first thing you say is he's a great run blocker. I need my receivers to catch passes.
That's a bonus.
But
you do need receivers to run block in this offense.
they want to replace Ayuk and Jennings in that department.
Honestly, they do miss that.
Well,
that is a real element.
We do not talk about
I will
Ayuk.
not laugh at that.
We don't talk about Ayuk's run blocking enough. Let's go to the phones really quick. Got a couple calls on the line.
And the other part of Ayuk, real quick, he's one of the few guys that can beat man coverage where a guy presses up on him and still run past him.
Yeah.
Like that, Jennings was very good at beating one-on-one coverage in terms of like he could catch contested balls, but he's not running past anyone. So you're not bracketing him.
Yeah, sticky man coverage. Wayne and Sonoma. What are you feeling about the draft here, Wayne and Sonoma?
Okay, man, I got to tell you, there's a lot of people talking about how they're disappointed, and they just don't know how to voice it. So here it is. Did the Niners maximize the value of their draft slots? Sure, they got the guy they wanted, and he's talented. He's a great player. I love him. I think he might even be the next Debo. But, everybody keeps saying Kittle, Purdy, Warner. Okay, Kittle was slotted 4th, 5th round. Where did they pick him? 5th round. That way they didn't reach for him. They didn't. So if they would have used the 2nd round pick on him, would that be the maximum value to be extracted from pick 2? No, they could have used it as a trade or something else and then still got Kittle. Right? So that's what it is. It's called opportunity cost. whenever you make a decision, you have to look at it and say, what is this going to cost us if we make this decision over another decision? So thank you very much for taking my call. I appreciate it. Dibley, I've been listening to you since the station that shall not be named. And go Niners.
All right, Dan Dibley's on from 2 to 6. It's funny that I wish he would have stayed on because Peter Schrager, I just pulled this up 2 hours ago. Did not see this until now. Peter Schrager, I think we all respect him, right?
Yeah.
You respect him?
He gets a lot of information from the Niners.
He works hard.
Peter Schrager, one big talking point from this draft is the teams that took their guys and trusted their boards versus consensus. Bears, Rams, Jags, and most notably the 49ers had the largest deltas between their picks where the consensus big boards listed. And they had their boards. All those teams made the playoffs last year. The Bears took guys, gambled on them. Like, at some point, you just got to go get your guys, right? If your job's on the line, and you're saying, well, there's Mel Kiper's board and Todd McShay. Yeah, I don't give a damn. I know John Lynch doesn't give a damn about it. And that's why I thought the back and forth between Grant was funny. Grant asked a fair question. I thought John Lynch gave a fair answer. It's like, look, I
Kyle's was the better one.
Right, but Kyle later on was a good
Kyle's
answer
was the
too.
better one, yeah.
But John basically was like shutting that down. Basically, like, look, I appreciate your thoughts on this. They have their consensus, but ours in the big board. This is what we do.
That conversation that you're talking about is right here.
John, your draft board seems to deviate quite a bit from the consensus. Why are you confident with that, given your track record drafting the last few years? It seems like it leads to you making reaches.
Well, I appreciate that you think that. Depends whose consensus. We got consensus in this building. That's the consensus I care about.
One thing I want to add also, just the way the 49ers picks, I think, were distributed in this draft. They had a couple early on, then they had 3 basically in a row at the end of the 4th round, the compensatory section of that 4th round. When you don't have late picks like you usually do, I do think that does kind of put you into a situation where you got to reach up and take guys like, like Carver Willis, who was an undrafted free agent, 7th round projection in like the late 4th or early 5th round or something like that. Because if you don't have a pick in a round when a guy is expected to go, you basically have no choice but to reach if that is a guy that you want to get. I do think that
if these guys are good, they'll get praised. If they're not good and they don't play, people will be outraged. It's very simple.
It just feels like we've already, as a fan base, determined what these guys are going to be. We already determined basically this class is going to be bad.
I think it's more the last couple of years. People have been frustrated because the Garendo, who you referenced earlier, and Jordan James and Jordan Watkins and these middle round guys don't see the field, and then random undrafted or signed guys in the middle of the week step up and play better than them. Look, Kendrick Bourne is more along, no one wants to hear it. Kendrick Bourne was ready to compete and help them win games faster than Jordan Watkins was, and people were like, well, that shouldn't be the case. Well, it is for this team.
No doubt. And look.
Right? It is.
It is. But when we say 3rd and 4th or 5th round reaches, those picks are gambles. Those mid-round picks are gambles. Like, De'Amon Lenore was ranked 319th on ESPN's big board. The Niners took him 172nd. Turned out to be good. They gave him a massive deal. Talanoa Hufanga had a 212 ranking going into the draft. Well, the Niners took him 180th overall. Dude became an all-pro and got a contract with the Denver Broncos, right? Brock Purdy, we know about him, Mr. Irrelevant. Ranked 362nd, taken last in the draft, but that's worked out for the Niners, right? Dominic Pooney was 104 on the big board.
No, we love those. We're talking about.
But he was just talking about gambles.
13,
right?
And
Kinlaw's a terrible pick. Terrible. And it blew up in their face, and they're still trying to replace DeForest Buckner.
They took a wide receiver after Kinlaw. They could have had Justin Jefferson.
Could have had Justin Jefferson. Could have had CeeDee Lamb. Could have had all those guys.
I know.
Trust me.
So, I don't think people are out. Like, middle and day 3 reaches, no problem with them. Heck, that's when you should be, crazy reaching.
So that's why when you say Carver Willis, that's where they're reaching. They're saying, oh, this guy played tackle.
Yeah.
But he could play the interior.
I'm okay with that. I love that pick,
dude,
actually.
He's at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, I love that
He could
pick.
possibly be a center. Yeah. I think the guy could play. I think the guy may be a factor.
I think it's the early
Enrique
round
Cruz.
stuff.
Yeah, the early round stuff gets on our nerves.
Mike Kell is a great example. Again, I don't think Mike Kell is being written off. He shouldn't be written off. He hurt himself, and that sucks.
Right.
Is he ever going to live up to the 11th overall pick? That's going to be tough.
Look,
it's going to be tough. We'll see.
That pick, I'm
not writing him off.
I wanted Tyler Warren.
You did? And
I wanted Tyler Warren as a playmaker. You know what I'm saying? Instead of Michael. But I could see their vision. They're saying, man, teams are running the ball on us. We got banged up. We need to set the edge. And then when you look at that playoff loss in Seattle, I know it was bad. But Kenneth Walker got around on the edge over and over and over again. I'm like, that's Michael. He's got to stay on the football field. And so, yeah, some of these picks do need to pan out. But I think the overall picture is Lynch and Shanahan and company, they're probably looking back saying, yeah, we've underwhelmed in the draft.
Yeah. But
we're also 72-45 since the beginning of 2019. We're knocking on the doorstep of the Super Bowl. Trust me, this fan base is, I want a ring too. I wasn't even going through puberty yet when they won the Super Bowl in 94, 95. So, I mean, what's crazy is that they don't get the benefit of the doubt. That to me has been wild.
Just in the draft.
I don't know.
I think in everything else they do.
I think it's more. People call it for John Lynch's job.
Well, that's too much.
But we all know this is Shanahan's baby, right?
Well, that's what I was telling Lubman. I was like, if you want Lynch out, then you kind of want Shanahan out because they're connected at the hip.
And I'm trying to figure a way to separate them. But no, I think you're right. There's a reality there that they are.
I want John Schneider running the team and Kyle coaching it.
I know. I hear that.
That's not like Kyle wants to be able to shop for the groceries and cook it.
I think the frustration with the Niners also they've just been good enough in the draft, like just good enough to say that they are decent, but they've been falling short enough to where you can't say that they're great at the track. They're again, it's the one gap that they have is the draft. And unfortunately, that's a tough gap to have in terms of trying to get over that last hump and win the Super Bowl.
This is what we do know. If they're a player away, they will make a trade midseason.
Yeah. Sure.
They're a player away in free agency. Like, I think this offseason was pretty damn good for the 49ers. Personally, Mike Evans.
How would you grade it?
What would be your letter grade?
Yeah, I said B minus.
I was like C plus, B minus.
I give them a B for now, B minus maybe because they didn't dress the safety position. They're a lot higher on safeties than I am. Again, I wanted a young man from Chile. I wanted Stooks from Arizona. He goes to the Raiders a few picks later after Stribling.
Thieneman? You think they were going to go for him?
Yeah, I didn't like Thieneman.
No, I was just wondering. Do you think maybe that's why they traded down?
I think they were looking at the Lawrence kid from UCF.
Oh, the Dallas took 23rd.
Or the young man from Georgia Tech. Who's the guard from Georgia Tech?
Rutledge.
I think they were going for him or the young man from Central Florida.
My hot take at safety, I think Ephesians Prysock, the corner out of Washington, I can see them trying to move him to safety and giving him a shot
pretty
there.
Big.
He's pretty big.
I think he looks like a guy who could play that position. That's just my hot take out the rip there. Though. He looked good. I like saying his name a lot.
Yeah, I give him a B because Mike Evans, one thing we're not talking about is what Mike Evans will do for Stribling. Mm-hmm. What did Mike Evans do for Ibuka?
He's going to open him up.
What did he do for McMillan?
Ohio State wide receiver.
Just sick. But
it's
McMillan,
just insane.
You don't think they benefited from having Mike Evans in that room?
Godwin did.
Yeah, exactly. Those
Godwin got a huge deal.
And that would be huge for this team.
He's a good player. But Jalen McMillan from Washington, who had a big...
I like McMillan.
Exactly.
All right, let's get to final thoughts. All right, I'll start off here. I don't think this was talked about yesterday, but the other big story from the weekend, Klay Thompson. What are you doing, man?
I'm going to leave this alone.
Cheating on Megan Thee Stallion. Oh, I'm disappointed. Very disappointed. True love died this weekend, guys.
Yeah.
Now I wonder if it's even real. Oh, that was heartbreaking to see.
Business is what I say. Stay out of grown folks' business.
Oh, that's all
we don't know what's going on.
Disappointing end too. I was hoping they were my favorite power couple in sports.
You know, I don't get why people get caught up in these celebrity relationships. Like I could care less.
We love the smut. That's why.
You do?
Not really, but this was a particular one
because he wants to date Meg Thee Stallion.
Well, there's that too. I mean, who wouldn't? But like, no, I enjoyed seeing them together. I thought they were a fun couple to follow, and it's a bummer that it ended the way that most of these things end.
I don't even know what to say.
Yeah. I silenced Joe Shasky. I didn't know that was possible. Joe, what's your final thought?
Man, my final thought. I need a nap. I'm exhausted from yesterday. I need a nap. That's my final thought, Bonta. I'm hungry and I need a nap.
Oh, digging deep for that one.
Yeah, my final thought since we were talking draft.
Sunburnt.
I cannot wait until training camp. I cannot wait. I saw one dude.
Are you taking a month off again?
I saw a clip. I am taking a month off,
Every year
actually.
you do this. You go to training camp, then you go like a week later, you go, I'm never coming back for training camp. I'm just going to show up week one.
No. I was off the morning show last year for the first time in a long time, and I was able to go to all those practices. Oh, yeah. And I was going to all those practices, and it's a lot of fun because you see things that, you can just assess for yourself and form your own opinion about things.
Your own opinion.
Yeah, like Garendo, I was like, he ain't having a good camp. And people were drinking, you should see the film. I was like, he ain't having a good camp. Your buddy Greg Code has somebody on the clip popped up on my timeline, and this guy said that, I think he said Stribling was the biggest reach or the biggest something in the 21st century. And I was just thinking, like, damn, I watched
Darius Hayward-Bay?
I mean, I watched Darius Hayward-Bay. How about Ross in Cincinnati because he ran a 4.2540?
Yeah, from
John
Ross.
Tate
Was he
Jr.
Washington or Oregon?
Washington.
Yeah,
Washington.
Jeremy Ross. He went.
How about Tavon Austin?
Tavon Austin.
West
Virginia?
Yeah, I mean, Solomon Thomas on line one.
Dude,
hello.
thank you.
So,
the Solomon Thomas one.
Just some of the hyperbolic about this NFL draft. We got it. Like, let's just wait until they put on the pads one time.
What was the name of the bowl with him and Trubisky?
The Sun Bowl.
Thank you.
El Paso Sun Bowl, El Paso,
I'll never
Texas.
forget, they took Solomon Thomas, and you're like, you and me are arguing about it. I hated the pick. He was the 11th best player in the Sun Bowl, and McCaffrey didn't even suit up.
I wanted Deshaun Watson, and people say, well, you don't want to take a quarterback and start his clock. I'm like, you always start your franchise with a quarterback. It was the
I agree with
silliest overthought process. And actually, thinking about that, we overthink the draft process.
You know,
way too much.
One thing I was thinking about watching all these Texas Tech defensive players go off the board.
Right.
Could you imagine if Mike Leach had an NIL?
Oh my gosh.
He would have won how many natties? No, I'm serious.
Oh my God, he would have
If he got the defense, because the Texas Tech defense, it felt like 15 guys got. I know it wasn't that many, but it felt like 15.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
I'm just convinced that Niner fans overall. Now, there's a lot of people who do like the draft that I've been talking to that's not on Twitter. I'm just convinced, though, that a lot of people are just going to come out of this saying, yeah, they blew it. They stunk.
I'm not saying that
If he
about
scores
this
a
group
touchdown week one, we'll be thrilled.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, I can't wait for it. I'm rooting for him. And you know what? Quick, these players, I hope these players watched that press conference. I hope these players looked at it and said, damn, I was a reach?
They really aren't believing in us, yeah. Use it as fuel.
McNabb never let that go.
No, he didn't. And he had a borderline Hall of Fame career.
So, Niners still in a good position overall right now. Just hopefully the draft can get him a little bit better.